Hi everyone, this is Teacher Ivy and this week lesson is absolute and relative reference in Microsoft Excel. So let's take a short review on how to create formulas in Microsoft Excel. So always begin with an equal sign. Unlike in your mathematics, you will always do 1 plus 1 equals 2. But in Microsoft Excel, we will always begin our formulas with an equal sign. So it should be equal sign 1 plus 1. So these are the other symbols that we will be using for a calculation. Plus for addition, minus for subtraction, slash for division, and asterisk for multiplication. So I assume that you have learned this creating formulas in Microsoft Excel when you were in grade 7. Now let's move on with the two types of cell references in Microsoft Excel. Now when we talk about reference, it means this is the source of information or the cell source when you copy a formula. So these are the two types of cell references. We have relative reference and we have absolute reference. So these two behave differently when copied and filled to other cells. So relative reference change when a formula is copied to another cell, especially convenient whenever you need to repeat the same calculation across multiple rows and columns. So I'm going to show you on how relative reference work when you copy a formula from one cell to another cell. So in the following example, or in this example shown on the screen, we want to create a formula that will multiply each item's price by the quantity. So rather than create a new formula for each row, we can create formula in cell D3 and then copy it to other rows. So we'll use relative reference so the formula correctly calculates the total for each item. So select the cell that will contain the formula. So in our example, we'll select cell D3. So enter the formula to calculate the desired value. And in our example, we'll type equal sign, select B3, use asterisk for multiplication, and multiply it to C3. So that is our formula for getting the total. Equal sign B3 multiplied by C3 for orange juice. So click, press enter on your keyboard. The formula will be calculated and the result will be displayed in the cell. Now locate the fill handle in the lower right corner of the desired cell. So we will copy the formula of D3 to D7. So in our example, we'll locate the fill handle for cell D3 and click, hold, and drag the fill handle over the cell you wish to fill. So in our example, we'll select cell D3 to D7. So let's check how the relative reference works in this column D. Okay, so in orange juice, you will see the formula is B3 multiplied by C3. Going to apple, it changed into B4 to C4, B5 to C5, and strawberry B6 to C6, and then lemon is B7 to C7. So that is what we call relative reference. So again, when a formula it changes when a formula is copied to another cell, especially convenient whenever you need to repeat the same calculation across multiple rows or columns. Now let's proceed with absolute reference. So an absolute reference remain constant no matter where they are copied. So you can use an absolute reference to keep a row and or column constant. So it means the reference or the source cell will be constant throughout your formulas. Now, An absolute reference is designated in a formula by the addition of a dollar sign. So it can precede the column reference, the row reference, or either the row or the column. So if your absolute reference is columns or rows, then you can add a dollar sign between, like for example, A2, the cell reference is A2. So you can add the dollar sign between the A and between A and 2. If the cell reference is in a row, so the row does not change when you copy it, you will put the dollar sign in between of the letter and the number. So if the column does not change when copied, so if it is a column, then you will put the dollar sign before the cell name, or A2. So I will show you how you will create or how you will do an absolute reference in Microsoft Excel by inserting a dollar sign. So in our example, we'll use the 10% sales tax rate in cell D11 to calculate the sales tax for all items in column D. So we'll need to use the absolute cell reference D11 in our formula. So because each formula is using the same tax rate, we want that reference to remain constant. So when the formula is copied and filled to other cells in column D, so our constant reference here is the sales tax, which is 10% and which is in D11. So select the cell that will contain the formula, and in our example, we'll select cell D13. So enter the formula to calculate the desired value. So in our example, we'll type equal sign, bracket, multiply B13, asterisk symbol for multiplication, multiplied it to the quantity which is in C13, and then close parentheses. So our constant cell reference is the sales tax, which is 10% and which is in D11. So asterisk multiplied D11. So we will copy this formula throughout column D, but we will be using absolute reference so that we will not so that the sales tax will remain constant throughout the formula. So enter the formula to calculate, and we will add dollar sign. So and click enter. So press enter on your keyboard and the formula will calculate and the result will display in the cell. Now locate the fill handle in the lower right corner of the desired cell, and in our example we'll locate the fill handle for cell D13. So click, hold, and drag the fill handle over the cells you wish to fill. Cell D13 going to D17 in our example. So release the mouse and the formula will be copied to the selected cells with an absolute reference, and the values will be calculated in each cell. So as you can see, what changes here in Apple is B14 multiplied C14, but the 10% sales tax remain constant. So it's the same throughout your data. So that is what we call absolute reference. So again, absolute reference remain constant no matter where they are copied. So you can use an absolute reference to keep a row or column constant. So to add or to create absolute reference, you must have to add dollar sign in either columns or rows. So this part, the first part, you can do it if you are confused which you are going to put the dollar sign, if it is before or after the letter or the column name. So it's better to use this the first example when you will create absolute reference in your calculation. Now, this week your challenge is to create absolute and relative reference, and the instruction will be in the attached file in Scholargy. So please do check and your homework number 3, the deadline will be on May 13. So please write it on a piece of paper, take a picture, and submit it in Schoology. So again, if you have comments and questions about this lesson, please don't hesitate to send me a message in line or email, or you can do also inbox me in Schoology. So once again, thank you and goodbye.